Hey pals, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to wherever you may be, whatever time it may be. It is good to have you, as always, in the Collective Colloquial here. Eric McFarlane here in the Hey Pal Radio studio, diving into all things Aussie women's hoops, especially putting the focus at this time of year on NBL 1 conferences. I just want to take quickly a moment to thank you, and especially our guest on this week's episode, for your patience. We had the interview component of this episode ready to go a little while back, but I personally was met with some tragic news from back home of the passing of a very dear friend in Rick Langley. You may have seen Rick pop up a few times on my personal socials as the happy-go-lucky guy, often in a loud Hawaiian shirt that I dragged along to a Sennies game, though in fairness, there wasn't much resistance to that dragging. He was that good a bloke. He was a very passionate supporter and volunteer of grassroots community sport for our local Warwick Greenwood Cricket Club, giving time and efforts that were beyond human. And he was a tremendous believer, initiator, and key driver in the foundation of our women's cricket program and its inception. With Rick's legacy in mind, I want to take this moment to appeal to you, our listeners, to take this time to think about the volunteers of your sporting club. Whether they're at WNBL, NBL 1, or your local association's level. Whilst many eyes go to the players, the coaches, and a lot of the high profile, the reality is that the clubs of any level, of any code, do not exist without volunteers. Whether they have cameras in hand, a whistle around their neck, a clipboard in their hand, or a hairnet on their head, even keys to the cars that get people in clubs moving, they usually are putting in the most work for the least recognition. And I don't mean that as a bad thing on us or even them. They just do it for love, and they often don't seek out those accolades. So that's what I'm asking for you and from you now. Whether you're listening to this on the podcast feed or you're seeing this in the social reels, please take the time right now. I'd love for you to use your socials profile to share a great person that you and your club are lucky to have. Tag them in your posting, tell the world, and most importantly, tell us all why they're great. Tell them what they mean to your club and what they mean to you. If you're not a big socials person, look, please just message them. It's not about hey pal here. It's about making sure that there's recognition to these people, because I'd love for their stories to be told to the greatest social audience you have. But if you don't have those socials profiles, just send them a message. Tell them now, because they are the heroes of your clubs. They're the heroes of our lives. And tell them today, because as my wise father says, tomorrow isn't promised to anyone. Thank you. Our guest on this episode of Hey Pal is someone who, like a knockoff choir singing about an airline, can still occasionally call Australia home. After many years gracing our shores as an NBL 1 import across the land, she returns for the final stint of the Eastern Mavericks season in the NBL 1 Central competition and is looking to make an impact in a quick-hitting stint in South Australia. Our guest this week is Madi Torresin, right now on Hey Pal Radio. Our guest on this episode, well, is from Canada, but by this time, seeing as though she's played in leagues since 2022 in Australia, we pretty much have adopted her into this country and into all of the NBL 1 leagues across the country. Just arriving now for a stint with the Eastern Mavericks in the Central Conference, our guest is the one and only Madi Torresin. Madi, hey pal.
Hello, how are you?
Doing well. Thank you very much for taking the time. I know you've just sort of touched down in the process of getting ready for your stint here at the Mavericks. So welcome back to Australia. How's things going? How are you feeling?
Thank you. I'm feeling good. I've been here for a few days now, and I just moved into a new house. So everything's happening so fast, but loving every part of it. Staying busy as always.
This always seems like when we talk to someone who obviously is a professional basketballer, can take you so many different places around the world. So what are the sort of things that when you do touch down that you sort of your most important things to try and feel comfortable and get into the swings of a new club or a new city?
Definitely starting with the routine first because you kind of want to start with that and get going from there. And honestly, it just comes so naturally after that. You start meeting people, meeting your teammates, finding your new coffee shops or like the places to go. So that's kind of what I've been doing this past weekend. So it's been, I mean, here we are. We're loving it so far.
It's a very Australian attitude there that the coffee shop was near the top of the list there. Have you found the coffee shop? You've got a local now?
Yes, yes, I have. But actually, the house that I moved into, they bought this like brand new espresso machine where you have to like put it in each section and froth your milk. So I've kind of been learning how to do that, and I mean, that's fun. It's fun to make coffee
Oh
now.
wow.
Yeah,
Hey, and economical as well in this economy. That's great.
yeah,
You got to make the most of the
yeah. You got to
perks
put
of
your beans
the
in.
host house for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, other than that,
Um,
I just love a good coffee shop.
true. Well, I mean, we've got plenty of them here in Australia and South Australia. I haven't been there as much. They've got a couple there from the few limited exposure I've had. But I've got to ask, you've been around the country. You've spent some time in the West. You've spent some time up north as well. What is it that has you coming back to Australia at this time of the year, and wanting to be part of NBL One leagues?
Honestly, Australia has just been like so easy for me. The basketball is competitive, but then also it's kind of like an off season because you're really only practicing with the team twice a week. So you get to do things, you get to be independent, and you get to, see Australia for its true self. So I kind of like that the best, and everybody speaks English, so that's been really great. And just the people I've met along the way. I've met like some of my best friends out here and I still talk to them. I mean, even if I played with them 4 years ago. So everybody's super awesome and super nice. And I mean, just the culture is great.
Well, like as a transplant from Western Australia, and obviously I'm familiar with your work at the East Perth Eagles, and you spent a couple of seasons there as
Yes.
well. You mentioned English as well. You've just spent some time
Yeah.
in Sweden. Tell me about Sweden and playing there. How much of a cultural difference and even basketball difference is that?
Oh gosh, it was a huge adjustment at first. Just with like the winter and the darkness, it was like 2 hours of daylight in the winter, like from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. and the rest was just
Wow.
like stone cold dark. So it was like that was hard because it was like, am I eating breakfast or it's at nighttime? And it was just like, but I mean, you get used to it towards the end. But basketball itself, it was really cool. Great English out there as well. Probably one of the best countries in Europe that speaks English for non-English people. But no, it was cool. Basketball was good, and it's growing out there, and just the people are tall, so it was a great atmosphere and very competitive. And
You
the
did get a
arenas are
chance to
very
go
nice.
home though, but oh yeah, yeah. What
Oh, they're
makes the arena so
massive out
good?
there. Oh, they're just, I mean, they're full, they're huge. I mean, it just feels like you're like, it's like a WNBA stadium kind of, which they're just gigantic. So I love that. And it makes the game more fun too.
That and the energy that comes with that. So they get pretty packed houses based on the arenas and
Yes.
whatnot.
Yes. Like in the middle, mostly for the girls, but for the guys, it's a cool, I mean, of course, bigger, better. But yeah, it's really nice.
And you did get to spend some time back home before coming out here to Australia. How important is that with how your sort of professional life is set up? How is important is it to get back home and how do you spend the time?
Yeah, home is so important to me because I'm only home like once or twice or 1 or 2 weeks out of the whole year. And that's usually like a week in the summer and then
Wow.
a week at home for Christmas. So yeah, it gets tough. But this year I planned on taking the entire summer off before coming out here just to spend time with my family and grandparents because I mean they're getting older these days. So I was like, I can do it now because I've been playing year round, year round. But it's just so important and I like always love to give back because my grandparents they wake up for every single game no matter what the time zone is. So it's cute to just be home with them and then having the home cooked meals. So home is home no matter where you are in the world. So yeah.
So in normal course of events, you're only back for 2 weeks a year. Like, how do you find that balance with sort of living the professional athlete life and still staying connected to home and family and things like that? Are there things that you put in place or things that sort of help you along the way?
I mean, when you get out overseas, you try to make that like anywhere I sign, I try to make sure there's like a family environment kind of involved to see, I mean, from the coaching staff to like just the people or even the teammates that you live with. So, I mean, that's very important for me. And then along the way comes with the FaceTimes these days, and yeah, just kind of being my true self with the people that I'm learning to trust, or the people that I have back home, because it takes a village no matter where you are. So yeah, I guess just being big on staying social with the people that you meet, and then having your family close on FaceTime.
Yeah, that's the wonders of with technology now that you can still have that
I know.
connection and I'm sure
Yeah.
they get like even you just mentioned as well your grandparents are able to watch the games, whereas like maybe 15 years ago, probably even more recent than
No,
that would have been even tough
yeah.
for them to be able to stay connected to you like that. So I bet
Yeah.
you probably wake up because you probably get the messages after the game and things like that and see that from them. Um, I I just find it interesting, like you speak about home, how important the family was. How did you get into the game? Tell us a little bit about growing up and finding the game of basketball.
Yeah, my brother used to play basketball and my dad was the coach, so I always tagged along, and I kind of just became jealous and wanted to be like my older brother. So I just kept practicing. My parents would take me to like different events for the girls, and I just kind of fell in love with the game from there. And ever since I was like 4 years old, I was like, I'm playing in the WNBA. And that was like, there's no other life goal for me. So, I mean, I'm not in the WNBA, but I mean, I'm still playing professionally and doing what I love. So, yeah, I love that.
Was there a moment where you kind of went, all right, well, this is not just wanting to be around my brother or be better than him, whatever it might have been. Was there a moment where you go,
Yeah.
look, I can actually make something of this. I've actually become quite good at this. Was there a moment like that that stands out to you?
Yeah, I guess just growing up, my work ethic compared to my friends, like for instance, my friends would go out in high school or do things like that, and I kind of caught myself just wanting to like shoot outside. And my mom and I always like I would have to before bed, I had to make like 100 shots outside on the driveway, and she'd be like sitting drinking her tea, watching outside. So
Oh wow.
it was kind of moments like that where I was like, I'd rather be doing this with on the court in a driveway outside in the cold than like going to the movies with my friends. So I kind of like saw where I wanted to go from there, and then the scholarship offers came through, and it kind of just like I said, it went by so fast, and look at that. Yeah. So I never even wanted to like go to a party or things like that in high school. It was always just like basketball, and like that was like if you get caught with the wrong group, like so my parents kind of like drilled that in me. So I mean, just ball is life, right?
Yeah. Well, I've kind of like replaced you and cast you in the opening sequence to Space Jam, where young Michael's just shooting the basketball out the front the entire time. I'm just picturing you doing that
I
now.
love
It's just
that.
one more shot, one more shot, one more 100 shots.
Yeah, come on,
Um,
mom. No,
I
go
just
take
wanted
a
before we
bath.
move on.
Sorry.
No. That can all wait. That's later stuff. No,
Yeah.
no. It's
Yeah.
I just before we get to the offers because I'm curious as to that sort of decision making process. I love talking about that with people who are on the show. But tell us a little bit about like the growing up because depending on the research, we've got a one person research team here. But depending on the research, one moment you're growing up in and born in Canada, but then did you move to the States for a little bit? Tell us a little bit about growing up there and sort of the life experience there.
Yeah, it was my freshman year of high school. My dad, his company got moved from Canada to the States. So it kind of was like a big upbringing, and everyone, I mean, we're all moving. So next thing you know, I was starting high school in the States, new girl, new player on the team. So yeah, my whole family moved out there. And my brother and sister still live in the States, but because my grandparents are getting older and things like that. So my parents both moved home just to take care of them and everything. So it's like half and half right now. So when I go home, it's like I'm in the States or I'm in Canada. So I lived 15 years in both. Sorry, there are dogs out there.
No, that's all good. We are fans of dogs on the podcast, so that's all good.
Oh,
Um,
I love that.
do you think that the move to the States actually kind of helped basketball without you sort of clicking on or realizing that was going to be the byproduct of it?
Yes. Especially what was that, like 15, 16 years ago when I was like starting off in high school. Like the resources you have now in Canada is like has changed completely. But back then it was mostly like you needed to be in America to get signed from the teams that are coming to watch you, because back then you weren't really going to Canada unless you were a Canadian team going to play AAU. So I mean that helped immensely. Like next thing you knew, you just had college coaches at your high school game, and that was like rare for us because we weren't used to that being Canadian. And then everyone was like, "Oh, this coach is coming, and this coach is coming." So it was really cool. Just not even for me, like for my parents as well. Like they were trying not to tell me who they knew was going to be in the stands and things like that. So yeah, it was really nice. It was cool.
I mean, that's interesting because I always get fascinated. We're probably still not there yet in terms of Australian basketball. Like, we don't get those big crowds that American high schools get, and I don't think we'll ever get to that. That's just a whole other world. But when you mentioned your
Yeah.
parents wouldn't sort of talk about who was there, is that something that you think that would have affected you, or they think that would have affected you? Is that something that you've learned to deal with in terms of like that inferred pressure of who may or may not be watching when you are working so hard for these contracts?
Yeah, I can say now no, but like back in the day, I think yes. I don't really remember a lot, but I also had all five of my starters in high school went Division 1. So we, even if they weren't there for me, they were still there for somebody else, and you might catch their eye while playing. So it was kind of neat how that all worked out. But I'm trying to be cool and say no, but I think because one of the girls I knew on my AU team, she went to UConn, so I ended up having the coach there from UConn. So that was like wow, but yeah, I guess it was really cool. But you had to lock in and stay calm when you're at the free throw line and you see them sitting there. You're like, so yeah, I guess.
The only thing you have to deal with Australian crowds at the free throw line is that some sort of chance that if you miss both the shots that someone might win burgers. So that's a lot less stressful there than sort of scouts and coaches and things like that. You
Yeah.
mentioned college and those offers that come in. How do you find the right fit? How did you sort of land on your final destination there, so to speak, and to get into college? What sort of thought process went behind that?
Well, I ended up going to a lot of different places just to visit and doing the official visit and things. But I ended up staying close to home, so I went to school in Baltimore, which was an hour and 10 minutes. I mean, just because
Yep.
I mean, moving from the states, I mean, from Canada to the states, it was a lot for me, and I'm such a homebody, and like I always want my parents at my games, so I ended up going to a university that was super close and was close to home. So I think that made my like end decision for me mostly. And their mascot was a retriever, so I had a retriever at the time. So I was like, it's the universe.
That's
It was
synergy.
perfect.
Yeah, that's something
Yeah,
telling you. Yeah. Um,
yeah, exactly.
through the college experience, you suffered the ACL injury towards the end of the college experience, so you had to miss a season from playing.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about maybe what you learned during that time, because that's a very hard thing to take when you're, I guess, so close to your final season as it would have been before the injury.
Yeah. Well, actually, a couple years before that, I ended up fracturing my back. So I really missed like 2 years there,
Oh
and then I
wow.
ended up missing another year and a half with the ACL. So I still in my head had a lot of basketball that I didn't play in college. So that like really took a toll on me mentally. So there was a lot of setbacks. But I just kept showing up every day, and I mean everyone around me was so helpful. And I mean I got in some stages where I was like, I'm never touching a ball, I'm never playing basketball again. And then as I started seeing the progress, I became stronger and stronger. And um, what they say now, like a major setback is, or a minor setback is a major comeback. So I kind of lived by that. And yeah, I finished out. I only played like the last 3 months of my college career because I had a broken ankle too. So I was injured my whole college career. So that's
Oh
why I
wow.
feel like I'm gonna have
Jeez.
so much left in me, because I'm just, yeah, I never really played much. I fought through everything, and I had this, my mama like this. When I tore my ACL, they say like everything happens for a reason, but on my left leg, I ended up having skin cancer that we were very unaware of. So if I didn't tear my ACL, I would never know about the cancer. So it kind of like all had a meaning at the
Oh
end of the day.
wow.
So I'm like, I guess I'm thankful for that. Yeah.
So how do they discover that they're about to operate and they go, hey, we got to check this out as well? Like they just
Yeah, they
came
were
upon it
they were
upon
checking
those
out my knee.
assessments.
Yeah, they were checking out my knee and they were like looking at the other side just to compare. And they're like, "What's this?" And I was like, "Oh, it's just like a birthmark. It's a mole, but it's been getting bigger, and I've just been shaving over it." And they were like, "No, like this looks serious. So can you go check this out before we do surgery next week?" I was like, "Okay." So I went and checked it out, and it came back like I was stage two. Yeah, it was really bad. So it was melanoma at the end of the day. And
Oh,
then,
wow.
so I had to get this surgery before I could continue with my ACL. So that recovery took like almost 2 years. So yeah, a blessing in disguise, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to
Yeah,
ask you further to that what you learned through that, but like I think you sort of summed it up there. Everything sort of happens for a reason. We were speaking with Micah
yeah,
Simpson the other week on the show, and she was talking about like when you're recovering from an ACL, let alone the other challenges that come up, you've got to realize that there's going to be some really great days, but there are going to be some
yeah,
setbacks and some bad days and things like that. So
yeah,
I'm glad that despite the other ailments and quite the like serious stuff that you were able to get back on the court for those last couple of months. Um,
yeah,
after graduation and after leaving college, you start to look at your sort of your professional future. Played through at a Toronto side, I think is the correct pronunciation there. Not supposed to pronounce the T, I've been told. But
no.
then you start looking at places like Germany and Cyprus. So when you're looking at those decisions to play abroad for such a period of time, how do you approach those decisions and what's going through your head about those particular opportunities?
I guess when I first started out, I kind of took whatever I could get just because I played so little and I didn't have the greatest of stats, but I kind of just took whatever opportunity my agent first came about for me. So now as I'm like I've been through, I've seen this, or like I have like that background now. So I guess I look for different things, but most importantly, like I said earlier, that home environment and just how well the people that I'm going to be around um, can benefit me. Because at the end of the day, no matter where I go, I want to go to a place where I can grow as a person, and I also want to see the world while traveling. So that's why I never like sometimes like East Perth, I went back to back, but I don't think I went back to back to the same team before. So I kind of like to see the world on top of everything.
So it's
So that's kind of
part of
neat to do that.
that double.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about that because when you talk about sometimes there's cultural challenges, especially where there may be some places where English isn't as strong as well. But is that a big part of your? We'll talk a little bit about your photography in a moment, but is that a big part of what you want from your basketball career when you're sort of like, I guess, mapping out future decisions, or do you just take it as it comes and goes, look, this is a great opportunity. I'd love to see more of that place. Obviously, as you said, the family environment or the great environment is there. Is that travel consideration or what you're going to see just as important there as the basketball elements?
These days, no, but I think when I first was out, I was like, oh, that place is cooler than this offer. So like I kind of went for that. But these days, no, I just take it as I get it or what benefits me the most, honestly. But when I say I've seen it all, I've seen it all. So from
Yeah.
like good situations to bad situations and good agents to bad agents. So I think I've like grown in that aspect to like, I mean, one day I do want to become my own agent and help out the others because there's so many things that like you don't learn as a rookie or even now that people don't pick up on. So there's so many questions to ask. And I think not, that's not comes from me. That also comes from your agent. So like I said, I've seen it all. Yeah.
Is that something you see yourself doing post playing? And is that something that you've started to do some study or some look into in terms of taking that real world knowledge and then parlaying that into to helping other people on their journeys?
Yeah, most definitely. I just learned that you can't have a player's license and an agent's license, so I'm kind of just playing it out
Oh
as
wow.
long as I can to play. Yeah. So then I think I'll get into that because I don't know where I want to live yet. I don't know where I see myself, and becoming an agent, you can kind of work from home and then you travel to see your players. So that's kind of what I want to do as of right now. So I'm excited to get my own like little business up and running. And I know a lot of girls, and I've met a lot of different people out here to connect with. So I think that would be like the next step for me.
When you speak of the good experiences and want to talk from a like life experience sort of things, is there anything that sticks towards the top of your head about like really cool things that you've been able to do or see or experience abroad thanks to basketball?
Honestly, everything. Like just the European side to it. When you're in Europe in your country, like everything's so accessible. You can take the train across to Italy, or you can go to like you can just go anywhere in like like such a short amount of time. So I've definitely taken every like experience I've had. Just I mean, I went for it every single time. If coach gives me 2 days, I'm in another country, and everybody just thinks it's funny. But I'm like, I mean, why not? I'm like, I don't have any other time to go and see it or something. And like, I don't want them to like think I'm not focused on basketball, but sometimes you just need that mental 2 day step away. 48, what's 48 hours, right? And I'm getting my steps in, so it all counts for.
Well, I mean, that's it. You know, you don't have to jump on the training court as much if you're doing all those steps, especially, you know, as someone who's heading over to the
Exactly.
World Cup in Berlin later this year, just as a fan. Like I've seen how close everything
Okay.
is and how accessible you know, it's so exciting. It's so cool. But it makes me realize I can't just wear good looking sneakers. They have to be functional too. Um, but with
Exactly.
photography, you've got your other account, the Shots by Maddie. Um, is that just your way
All
of
along.
documenting for yourself, or is it also another like thing that you want to sort of excel at or like get better at in terms of the technical aspect of photography? What's your sort of approach to having the sort of photography passion?
I think just like capturing all the little moments that I've seen along the way. Like I have so many SIM cards that this is why they're all old photos resurfacing because I never really took the time to go through them except for my real page. But then now I look back and I'm like, I gotta put this somewhere, like just to come back on it or like to show my kids one day, like, hey, this is what I did, or like just neat moments like that. And like I'm if you're with me, I'm so annoying because I'll take 500 photos of like the same photo and they're like, okay, you got it. I'm like, it's not perfect enough. So I think I'm just like, I don't know, I've become obsessed with it. And now I'm like, okay, I'll create an Instagram page and kind of just show off. And if it's not for me and if someone else likes it, then they like it. But I guess it's mostly for me at the end of the day. And I don't have enough
That sort
storage on
of
my phone.
perfectionist. No, that's true. That's true. So that's why
Yeah.
you got to put it in the cloud. Although you're not meant to
Yeah.
trust the cloud, you got to put it in the cloud,
Yeah.
which is technically Insta or wherever.
Yes.
That approach to photography, does that also carry over to a basketball? Do you find yourself in your preparation or your approach to the game wanting to be a perfectionist, or is that something that somehow only marries up to
Yes.
the photography?
I would say a mixture of both photography, perfectionist. Even whatever I post on my stories, it's like if it's not perfect, it's not, that's another issue. But on the court, um, I guess, yeah, I guess a mixture of both because you're not going to have a perfect game. You're going to miss shots and you're going to stay down on yourself. So I guess just doing what I can with what I can and being great in the little things. So I kind of try to tell myself that. But I mean, you have an off day and you have a great day. So I guess it's hit or miss, really.
Yeah, it's that. I guess you everyone's going to make mistakes, as we always talk about on commentaries. Like shooters who like might start a game like going 0 of 5, but they're going to keep on shooting because they know mistakes happen, and that's the game.
They're
You
going to
shoot
still
until you
shoot.
shoot on. You're just being aware.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. The moment you stop
Yep.
shooting, that's when the alarm bells start happening. Um, Before
Yes.
we touch on the Mavericks and specifically what's happening in South Australia for you over the next month or so, um, just want to talk a little bit more about, we spoke about maybe in the future and how you can't hold two licenses, but how do you approach your goal setting when it comes to basketball now? Do you think have things on the proverbial vision board, or would you have sort of structured goals or plans in mind still that you have ahead of you?
It's funny you asked that because there's been like a big shift in my life recently. So I was looking to hang up the shoes and some things just didn't align in my personal life. So now I just found myself, that's why I came home for a little bit. I just kind of found myself at home and this opportunity came up, so I took it. But I'm really just focusing on like growth and enjoying the process and what comes after the next. So I'm kind of just taking it day by day at this point and seeing where I go from there.
So, I mean, that's a great way to look at it because, I mean, your profession is so unique, is that it can take you anywhere and things can sort of, when you maybe least expect it, you might get that call or you might get that email or whatever it might be.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
talk us through how the opportunity with the Mavericks come about because as we've spoken about, it is the Mavs are a team that is out of playoffs contention, so it is a short term stint. It kind of has a finite end date. But tell us a little bit about how that
Yes.
comes to be and sort of what made you sort of jump on this opportunity. Further to your point, obviously, of what you've just mentioned.
Yeah, so I kind of wanted to just take the summer off and spend, like I said earlier, spend time with family and things like that. But when you get home and you see your family and your friends and you get all that over with, it's like, wow, I still want to be playing basketball. And yeah, an opportunity. I knew a couple girls on the team, and they're like, hey, one of the players went home. She was kind of homesick, so there's a spot open. And I immediately jumped to it. I was like, okay, I've had 3.5 weeks at home. Like, let's get to it. So, I mean, yes, they're not in playoffs, but just coming out here and meeting such a great group of girls and kind of giving me that distraction that I need and playing basketball at the same time. I mean, it's really unique, and I love every single one of them. Even though I've only been here for like 6 days now, they've all been great, starting messages with me and things like that. So, yeah, so far it's so good. But you never know what the 2027, I guess we're in 7th season holds. So I guess we'll see for that.
Time's all wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. It's hard to keep up with. But with that said, like you're in a bit of a unique situation as well because there's about a week and a half before the next game. So you've got plenty of time to acclimatise to the on court, but also the off court as well. Yeah. So has that made things a little bit easier to sort of get comfortable there at the Mavericks?
Yeah, well, I was hoping to play this weekend because it was like a double header, but unfortunately the clearance never came in time. So now I'm just staying in the gym, staying ready, and yeah, just getting accumulated to the environment around here, and I guess making my bed, starting with that first. So.
Well, I still think
day by
they should
day
put it together for you, but anyway, that's a whole other thing. But
they will.
I was just gonna, now that I know that you were hoping to play the last double header, you're probably your hand's starting to twitch now. That you're probably thinking that you'd be on the court by now. But
yeah.
So with that, the next game's about a week away, and then again taking it day by day, just sort of make the most out of this, and then do you sort of how's for people who don't go through this process? And again, I always sort of tip my proverbial cap to you guys who do it because not having that stability is probably the wrong term, but at what stage do you reach out to the agent or the agent starts going, okay, well, you're playing basketball again. Do you want to start looking at Europe or what have you? What time frame does that start to happen? And do they initiate? Do you initiate? Walk us through that sort of process.
I would say you kind of like stay in touch with your agent like week by week, sometimes month by month. But with my agent now, we've been talking about Europe for the last month now. So I'm kind of just waiting to see what offers come in and what I'll accept. So she was surprised because I brought up Australia to her. She's like, yeah, go for it. Go do that. She got all the paperwork ready and stuff. But I guess, middle of May, June, beginning of June. That's where it kind of starts. You start seeing people signing to new teams here and there. So I'm kind of just waiting right now and seeing. So she says she has a couple good interested teams, but she's got to wait for the offers. So I just wait to hear the offer before she tells me the place because then, you get too excited. So, yeah.
That's a good point. That's very, very smart stuff that. Before we move into the final three questions that we end all our conversations with on this season, I'm going to give you a chance to get some brownie points. Thoughts on South Australia so far? Because I think this is your first time in Central. So what's the immediate vibe check on South Australia so far, being there for about a week?
Oh gosh, rainy. I've seen the sun for like one day now. So hopefully that turns around because we have the weekend off and I kind of want to take my camera and go places. But yeah, there's so many cool places to hear. There's so much green and greenery, and it's like, I mean, it's a beautiful sight to see. So I'm excited. There's a place called Kangaroo Island. So I want to go see some kangaroos and hang out by the water and stuff. So I'm excited for that if it doesn't rain. And yeah, I have a list that I need to hit. So hopefully the weather calms down a bit, but it is winter here. So
I was gonna ask if you had a list. So you've already started compiling that.
100%. I did that. I started that 2 weeks ago before I kind of in the midst of signing. You got to stay ready.
That's plain fodder as well. It's not just about a game. You got to always be ready there. It's like look at the offers and go, "Yep, I've got I've got a list from whether it's I'm going to show my age, TikTok or Etsy or whatever. I don't know. I'm so out of touch with that stuff. Pinterest, is that still a thing? Who knows? But you got to
I
have your
think
list
so. I've
ready.
never used it. Yeah.
Good. Okay, cool. Actually, no, I don't think that's good. You shouldn't be sort of associating my age bracket there. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. I will say though, I think that you and I are probably very unlucky then, because I was in South Australia earlier this year for a holiday, and I got told that it never rains in South Australia, and yet the 4 days we were there, pelting the entire time, and you've been there, and it's been pelting as well. So I think someone's given us bad mail about South Australia that this is supposed to be a sunny place.
Not from what I've seen.
It's a myth they're perpetuating. All right, well, we're going to have to speak to their weather people there.
I know.
At least
got to get on
change that over. But before I let you go and get on to furniture building duties and all the little bits and bobs you still need to do there to settle in, we have a final 3. So 3 quick questions on my part. Feel free to expand on them as much as you like. They don't have to be quick answers. Okay. But in terms of your approach to sport, do you have fandoms? Is there a team from another sport or competition that you follow and or you'd like to watch along and see how they're going?
Well, for my fandom, I'm a huge WNBA fan and I got to support the girls. So I have a couple friends in the league. So I wake up every morning now that I'm here in Australia and try to tune in and watch that. And then another team would be East Perth, just because I've been with them the last couple of years and I ended up living with the president and the men's head coach. So, I mean, they just became family with me. They cooked for me every day. Like, they just made it so housewarming. So I still check in, and they're killing it this season, both the women and the men. So, I guess just checking in with the Eagles. Yep. So, yeah.
Yes, that is a sore subject still for, and I'm going to put $1 in the Warwick Senators jar for the first time on this episode, but it is a very, very sad thing because they're dominating at the moment with Janelle and Stacey Bass smashing it there, but they are going really, really well, and that's a good team to be following at the moment.
Yeah.
But yes, there's kind of the timing works out with the WNBA here as well. You can sort of watch it before work, or if you're at work, just keep an eye on your phone.
Yeah, it's like 9:30 in the morning. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's good. It's nice with the coffee at your coffee shop.
I know, you get a morning
coffee. Your
coffee.
Fancy coffee machine. There you go.
Yes.
Do you have a nickname that sort of stuck with you, and can you tell us how you found it?
The last overseas, no, just kind of Maddie. But growing up and like being the new girl when I went to the States, I was always called like Canada or Canada Junior because my brother would be that. So I guess that nickname stayed, but I haven't heard that in a while. So no, I would just say just Maddie.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Pretty basic.
And now if any of your teammates are listening there, they might sort of cotton on to that one maybe. And
easy.
In terms of your like when you're going and finding a new team, obviously it's important to find the right environments, find a nice location to play, what's going to suit your game. But a lot of times it's also important to know whether or not your jersey number is available. So do you have a go-to jersey number, and can you tell us how you came to that number if so?
22. That's just my go-to number. I had 2 growing up as a little girl, and I got bigger. So just beginning of high school, I became 22, and it stuck with me. And I try to get it every season. And if I can't, I'm kind of bummed. I did leave a team, or I didn't sign to a team because I couldn't get the number. That sounds crazy, but it's such an important number for me. Just, I don't know. Yes. Yeah. That sounds crazy to say out loud, but some teams you can't pick your number also. Like in Sweden, I got a random number, but I'm growing up now. But before, I'll go through every roster and be like, okay, no one has a 22. We're good.
I always joke when I ask that question. It's like, well, if you don't have this number, you won't get Maddie on the team. But it actually did happen.
It's true. It's true.
So to all those teams reaching out to Maddie's agent right now, just make sure you have a look at those numbers before you make that offer. You might even be able to shave a few. No, don't shave any dollars off the offer. No, just still keep it up there, but have 22 off. Don't have 22 available there. But what you do have available is some time ahead of you at the moment. You've got about a week before a week and a half before the first game there for you at the Mavericks through the quirks of Australian basketball fixturing. So it does give you some time to settle in, and I'm really excited to see what you do in Centrals. I know that the Central division has a really passionate fan base. There's some really great content creators too. So really, really engaged community. So I wish you all the very best for your stint there with the Mavericks, and also what's to come there in the future for you. So again, thanks so much for your time today, Maddie.
No, thank you so much. And it was a pleasure. And hopefully I'll see you very soon.
That brings us to the ending of this episode of Hey Power Radio. Thank you so much to Maddie for her time and what was a wonderful conversation. Again, as I mentioned in the intro as well, for her patience in seeing this episode come to life. A massive congratulations before we go has to go to pals of the show in our Aussie Gangaroos. The Gang went and made history by taking out the silver medal at the 3x3 World Cup. We have been following the stories of the majority of this team through our show at differing stages and levels throughout their careers. So it is with an extra pride that these bleary eyes stayed up to watch the Cup and the finals. I believe it was the first time that exact combo had come together as a squad, and they hustled, they put everything into it, and they got their just rewards. Seeding ain't mean a thing. 16th, 20th, whatever they were. Huck pooey. That is the second 3x3 team in the whole entire world, and I and the basketball community cannot be prouder. I hope they're celebrating. But, knowing their work ethic, they're probably already on planes back home, ready to get back into the action again. But as a familiar taco sauce commercial once said, why not have both? We hope you celebrate your success, and we too, an adoring public, celebrate with you. As always, we celebrate you, our magnificent listening viewership. We've received such wonderful messages and suggestions, both HeyPal and personally. And without you and the HeyPal community, well, yeah, you're just wonderful. And I appreciate the time and effort and support and everything that you do give. If you do have sort of time and would like a simple share, comment, like, or rating on your preferred podcast service, definitely keeps boffins happy. If you're calling me a boffin, it'll keep me happy too. But more importantly, as I always like to say, it does help to expand our reach, especially the stories that are being told, the conversations being had, and really a reward for the time that's given up by our wonderful athletes and guests. We've got some great guests lined up. The big 50th episode celebration is not too far on the horizon, but look, there's still some great stuff to come in the meantime. So until that next time, Eric McFarlane here wishing you all the very best. Happy hoops, and we'll see you down the road. Bye, pals.